Hello, and welcome to Northern Access Television's new magazine program, Etc. I'm Dave McLaughlin. Over the coming weeks, we will be bringing you stories that we hope you'll find interesting and varied. Later in today's program, we'll be taking a look at the collection of fine art collector Aubrey Gibson. But first, we find out about the work of the Australian Caption Centre. This is the organisation that's responsible for captioning television programs for deaf and hearing impaired viewers. As you can see, they've captioned the first half of this program in order to demonstrate their work. Miranda Roberts is their facilities manager here in Melbourne.
The Australian Caption Centre is a national not-for-profit organisation. We were established in 1982, originally by government grant. A year after that we became self-sufficient, and now captioning is funded by the networks and commercial sponsorship. What we do is caption television programs for deaf and hearing impaired viewers, and in Australia there are over 1.7 million deaf and hearing impaired people. So we put captions on television programs, TV commercials, community service announcements, videos as well, so that they can actually understand the audio component of a TV program. Captions that we make for deaf people are a bit different to SBS captions. For instance, we like to make everything perfectly clear so that it's very easy to understand. So for instance, we give captions different colours. Each speaker in a scene is allotted their own colour, as we will be in this interview, so that people can always tell who's speaking, even if they're off screen or their face is obscured. We also include things like sound effects. There was a creaking door, and that is authentic. We really do need to oil our door. Phone rings, that kind of thing, dog barks, we do put all those sound effects in. We describe music, anything that really gets the message across to viewers. So that's what the Caption Centre does. We caption television programs.
Who, apart from deaf people, can benefit from the captions?
Well, besides deaf and hearing impaired people, and remembering hearing impairment is on the increase with an ageing population, other people do use captions. For instance, people learning English. They find that reading English language programs with English language text actually helps them learn the language. We also do some captioning in foreign languages. So, for instance, we might put Asian captions on an English language program. They're often educational videos or health and safety related videos, things like that.
How does it actually work, and what sort of equipment does the viewer need to get the captions? Because you don't normally see them on TV?
That's right. The captions on television are called closed captions. That means that you can only actually see them if you have the right equipment. The equipment that you need is a thing called a decoder, and that's built into the television or VCR. Most major brands do make decoder televisions. However, VCRs are much harder to find. One manufacturer who made them has just stopped, but hopefully someone else will introduce it back into Australia. So television decoders are the main piece of equipment available. The whole system is run through teletext, which is a service available across all the networks, and it gives you all kinds of information from racing results, weather reports, finance reports, to captions, and the captions are accessed through page 801. So that means anyone with a teletext TV is able to see captions on any program that carries them. They simply plug in the number 801 and the captions appear on the screen. Open captions mean that the captions are burnt onto the tape, like the ones you're seeing now. We've open captioned this program so that people know what teletext looks like. But normally, if you're watching TV, obviously you don't see these unless you have the appropriate equipment.
What sort of programs are captioned, and how many?
Well, there's a lot of captioned material on Australian television. Currently around 57% of prime time is captioned, and depending on the day, it might even be up to 100%. A huge range of programs. We caption things like movies, the major movies on, say, Wednesday and Sunday nights across all the networks. Most of the ABC is captioned, drama series. we do news and current affairs. That includes the ABC News. We have captioners in every state in Australia captioning the ABC News, so everyone can get that. SBS World News is also captioned. Then we do things like sitcoms, including American programs where we import the caption files. Australian programs like Neighbours, Home and Away, Blue Heelers, they're captioned, and TV commercials are also captioned.
How does an ordinary viewer find out if a program is captioned?
They look in a TV guide, and if they see an S next to the name of the program, that means that it's captioned. Also, if you're just watching television and at the start of a program you see a funny S shape in the corner, that also means there are captions. It stands for supertext, which are the captions made by the Australian Caption Centre.
You mentioned before videos are captioned. How are those different from TV programs?
Videos are different because, for a start, you don't use the teletext decoder to view the captions. There are two kinds of videos available. One is open captioned. That means, as I mentioned before, the captions are burnt onto the tape, so you can play them in a normal VCR with a normal TV and the captions will be there all the time. You can't turn them on and off. Those videos are available through, for instance, local libraries. It's always worth checking your local library in case they carry them. Or you can buy them through the National Film and Sound Archive. People can ask us for information. We can send out a video catalogue that tells you which videos have got open captions. Closed caption videos mean that they're not visible in a normal piece of equipment. You do need to have a decoder. Unfortunately, it's a different decoder to the one used for teletext. It's called a Line 21 decoder. But if you do have a Line 21 decoder, you can watch all sorts of videos. Most current release videos available through a video shop do have those closed captions on them. So there's a lot out there, but you do need to have a different piece of equipment.
What is the future going to see for captioning, particularly with the advent of digital TV, etc.?
Well, the amount of captioning is definitely going to increase. There's already legislation in place to make captioning compulsory on all primetime news and current affairs by 1st of January 2001. So that is definite, that will happen. As deaf groups get together and mobilise themselves, lobby government, lobby the TV networks, captioning will increase as well. Digital won't affect the accessibility of captions. People will still receive captions, and as I said, the amount of captioning is going to increase.
As we have just heard from Miranda, the captioners of the Australian Caption Centre work on a wide variety of programs. Kirsty Reeve is one who works on the captioning of live as well as pre-recorded shows.
Well, there's a few of us that do both online and offline. Offline is what's being done here, which are pre-recorded shows, things like Neighbours and Sale of the Century. Online is also called real time, which is live programs, which is what I'm going to head off to do very shortly. In Melbourne, we do the ABC News.
What sort of differences are there between doing it offline and online?
There's actually quite a few differences. I mean, basically all the colouring, positioning, etc. is the same. The main difference would be that with offline, we actually have a word per second standard, number of words per second, which we try not to put more than 3 words per second up on screen, which is the normal reading speed, because otherwise, if there's a scene where there's an argument or something, quite often that'll be so fast that if you put everything that was set up on screen, there would just not be enough time to actually read it. Whereas at the news, because especially most of the journalists and presenters are trained to speak at about 3 words per second, we actually caption every word, but we actually cue it to air live. So there's really no way that we know beforehand how long it's going to take, and if they're running behind on a RVO, for instance, and the sound up's in 3 seconds, they might just absolutely scoot through it. But yeah, that's just part of the live captioning.
Now, is it all done off a script, or do you at any stage have to caption while they're actually speaking?
Oh yeah, we mostly we have access to the Basis, which is the ABC's computer system, and we copy, or we basically cut and paste the scripts from Basis over onto our computer, then we will hopefully get the tape version, the cut version of that story before it goes to air, in which case we then go through, make sure there hasn't been any changes in the editing booth, all the words are correct, make sure that they haven't changed grabs at the last minute, and also with the grabs or talent people that they interview during the story, we position the captions on screen so that it doesn't cover any supers which will come up on screen at the time, or their mouth, because a lot of hearing impaired viewers still like to lip read, and we don't like to cover up mouths because obviously they don't have the option there. And sometimes we have to do it live to air. When there's a live cross, there's just no way around it. We just basically type damn fast. Up in Sydney they have steno captioners who are like court reporters that actually the main thing they do up there is 7:30 report, and that actually comes up on screen as word by word. It looks much different, but a lot different actually, but because none of us are actually steno captioners and we don't have the equipment down here or any other state except Sydney for that matter, we just basically summarise what's being said. We use short forms in both online and offline, which, for instance, an example is a short form for Australia. We might type in AUS, and then when we hit a punctuation mark or a space, it actually automatically fills in the rest of it. So we just hit AUS space and it comes out as Australia. We try and use them during live crosses, but often we don't actually have a chance to create them beforehand, and quite often you hit the wrong one anyway, and you end up with things like, yes, there was a bushfire today and breaststroke in the middle of it, which has happened. So there's some amusing errors that have gone to air, but it's live captioning, and there's really, the live crosses don't come up often enough to actually warrant steno captioners being used all the time, and I think we're getting pretty good at it. Most of us have been doing it for 2 years now, so we're pretty good at getting the essence of what's being said and putting it up on screen.
I would like to add that if people want to know more about captions, how they work, what equipment they need, which programs are captioned, they can contact us at the Australian Caption Centre. Oh, here's the sound effect. You should be seeing phone rings. You'll notice the different colours. That signifies a sound effect. You get to know different colour schemes that we use to indicate different things. Anyway, sorry, as I was saying, people can contact either our Melbourne office here. We have a TTY, so people, deaf and hearing impaired people with TTYs can call us directly, and the number is 03 9696 1996. And we also have a free call number at our head office in Sydney, and I have to look this number up. It's 1800 777 801, and the 801 is to remind you that you access the supertext captions through 801 through the teletext service. So yeah, people can write to us, we'll send them an information kit.